So need for the transport system is to maintain the need for the nutrition and to utilize oxygen to the developing embryo. So before implantation, you all know that the zygote and the morula stage, mere deuteroplasm which is present is enough for its nutrition. And then next, when the blastocyst stage, the nutrition is also by simple diffusion from the uterine gland secretions, because it has just entered into the uterine cavity then. And during implantation, that is around roughly about second week, the eroding of the endometrial wall, there is breakdown of the endometrial cells and the uterine glands in the path of the blastocyst. So the breakdown products are absorbed again by diffusion only still. But after implantation, the nutrition is provided by the established uteroplacental circulation, where the lacunar places in the syncytiotrophoblast facilitate the diffusion. But now, as the embryo is growing and is developing into various other organs, the nutrition is not sufficient by mere diffusion only. So there should be a path for this nutrition to go to that particular area of the formation of that particular organ in the destined area of the developing embryo. So is the need for the development of a transport system, which is the circulatory system. For that, the primary structure to be formed is the identification of the heart field, the cardiogenic area, where the blood islands are being formed, which are transformed into blood vessels, fused to form a single heart tube on folding of the embryo, and the tube being put into the pericardial cavity, growing into the pericardial cavity, developing into a primitive heart tube, which later on develops into a proper developing heart. So this heart starts its functioning beginning of 4th week and is visualized on the ultrasonography also. And the heart starts beating by the day of 22, and the blood starts circulation a couple of days later, that is by the day 24, where the secondary heart field is formed and the outflow tracts have been developed. So this is how a 4-week embryo looks in the ultrasound of the woman, pregnant woman. So when the heart starts beating for the first time on day 22 and the blood circulates by day 24, the first ultrasound picture that is seen is this, which shows the beating of the heart. That is where a pregnant lady is advised for her first scan as early as about day 22 to see the heartbeat. So here the extra embryonic blood vessel formation is the first thing that happens as early as 16th day, where the blood cells and the blood vessels develop, that is the vasculogenesis followed by angiogenesis, wherein the angioblasts, they differentiate from mesenchyme of three regions. Number one is in the wall of the yolk sac, which is represented here. This is the yolk sac, and this is the allantois. This is the connecting stalk, and this is the placenta, right? So the first area to be formed is in the wall of the yolk sac. This is the wall of the yolk sac, where they are called as vitelline vessels. Here you can very clearly see the wall of the yolk sac. They have the formation of these vitelline vessels. And next, in the connecting stalk, the red color is represented by connecting stalk, where they are named as umbilical vessels here in the connecting stalk. And in the chorion, that is in the placenta, the green color that is represented. Whole of this is chorion. So the capillaries, the vessels of the chorion, they join to form the umbilical vessels and enter via the connecting stalk and are connected to the intraembryonic vessels. Via the connecting stalk, they are connected to the intraembryonic vessels, which are the dorsal aorta. So this is still where the embryonic disc has not yet folded. So this is what is the wall of yolk sac. What you are seeing is from above. So there is a cut, part of the amnion has been cut. So is the reason you are seeing the embryo from the dorsal aspect. So this is the cardiogenic area, which is cranial to the neural folds, the notochord here. And cranial to the cardiogenic area is the septum transversum here. So cranial most part is the septum transversum, followed by cardiogenic area, then followed by neural tube. So this is the cardiogenic area followed by the neural tube and all. So along with the formation of the intraembryonic mesoderm, we all know that the body cavities are also being formed, the coelomic cavities, intraembryonic coelom. So this is the intraembryonic coelom in the cranial end of the embryo, which is destined to form the pericardial sac and is connected to the other tubes. As the cardiogenic area is a horseshoe shaped structure, even the coelom that is formed, the intraembryonic coelom, also takes a horseshoe shaped structure only. The central part is destined to form the pericardial sac. So these developing endothelial tubes, they are between the endoderm and the developing coelom. Here you can see they are represented in a dotted structure, which are connected to the dorsal aorta. These are the vessels that are formed on either side of the notochord and have connections to the extra embryonic vessels, to the cranial end of the developing endothelial heart tubes. So these vitelline vessels, veins and the umbilical veins, they pass through the septum transversum and then are connected to the cranial end of the developing endothelial heart tubes. The caudal end represents the dorsal aorta, which connects to the umbilical arteries, which are formed from the chorion through the connecting stalk. Okay, So all this process is again the same, where the angioplasts, they proliferate to form the blood islands like this, and the clefts appear in the blood islands where they form into capillaries like this, and then they form into a definitive blood vessels delivering their respective function. So this is how it is, the cardiogenic area where all the blood islands are being formed. You can see here, you can see a tubular structure here along with the horseshoe shaped cardiogenic area of the blood islands, which is the intraembryonic coelom. So this intraembryonic coelom is also in the horseshoe shaped structure along the cardiogenic blood islands. You can see few of the blood islands here also on either side of the notochord and the developing neural tube, which are called as dorsal